Here we go.
We're ready. We
Here
love
we
some
go.
controversy.
All right,
Lay it on
let's
us.
dive in.
Lay it
Here we
on
go.
us.
I always found Warren Buffett a little offensive, and Bill Gates. I find them hypocritical and offensive. It's always universally the same thing. The hardest leadership decision for me ever is firing someone. If you ever get comfortable with firing someone, then you now need to go. Don't believe that you have all the answers. You don't.
Welcome to The Business Game, a podcast that moves the needle. Hey guys, before we jump into today's episode, we just wanted to take a really quick moment to thank one of our sponsors, Tala Offshore. For any business wanting to maximize their return on new hires, Tala offers seamless access to top-tier Filipino talent who are real employees, hand-selected by the team, slashing your staffing costs by up to 60% with onboarding in under a week. Visit TalaOffshore.com to scale smarter. And thanks again to Tala for supporting The Business Game.
Hello and welcome to The Business Game, a podcast that moves the needle. My name's Lisa DeAngelis.
And I'm Steve Plummer.
And before we get started today, make sure you hit like and subscribe wherever you're watching. So we are joined today by Mike Ehrle of Finparency and Lumity. Hi, Mike. How are you going?
I'm well, Lisa and Steve. How are you?
Good, Mike. Good.
Also very well. Now, tell us about where you are first. Where are you in the world right now?
I'm in a lovely, very spacious and beautiful hotel room called the Marriott
Beautiful.
in Deerfield, Illinois, outside of Chicago in the United States.
Lovely.
Nice.
Lovely. And where
Yep.
are you based generally? So I assume Atlanta.
Atlanta, Georgia.
You don't live in the Marriott in
I do not live
Illinois.
in the Marriott.
Yeah, okay.
It feels like I do often, but
Yeah,
not right now.
They're not paying for that slot, so I think we
No.
don't mention that word
We're not.
again, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
This paid for by Hyatt.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, it's lovely. Well, so tell us, Mike, introduce us to what you do. Introduce us to your companies.
Yes, I work in three things right now, which is insane. One of them is full-time, which is a good thing.
Yes.
And that is a managing partner of Lumity, owned by a parent company called Alera. And if you're familiar with the way employee benefits works in Australia, is quite different than the way it works in the United States. But we have brokerage services in the United States around employee benefits, property and casualty, wealth solutions, and Lumity is the technology arm of that.
Okay.
So that's what we do at Lumity and are having a lot of fun there. And then Finparency, I'm the CEO and founder of Finparency. So that is early stage, lots of work still to do, but a whole lot of fun. And I can talk more about that if you're interested.
We would love to hear about it. Now, am I understanding correctly? Finparency pairs small businesses with potential investors and then kind of helps both parties prep. Is that an accurate summary?
Yes, we have created an AI engine to point, because you have to have AI something. Otherwise, what do? You have to say AI.
Yeah.
You've got to have AI. So we're partnering the investor community with small business owners.
Mhm.
And at least, let's say in the United States, there's 4,500 private equity groups. There's 4,000 family offices. There's thousands in the ecosystem of bankers and M&A lawyers and consultants. Then you have 3 million small businesses here.
Right.
And matching them up is one thing, but getting those small business owners to investment grade is the next. And so that's what we're focused on.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us, going right back to the early days, looking back at your early years, what aspects of your childhood and upbringing most shaped how you lead today, the path that you've gone down? Was it there from the beginning?
It was there from the beginning, and I recognize this is an international audience, so no one might like my answer on what I'm about to say.
Yes, we're ready.
Here we go.
We're ready. We
Here
love
we
some
go.
controversy.
All right,
Lay it on
let's
us.
dive in.
Lay it
Here we
on
go.
us.
I feel as if I've won the lottery 3 times.
Lovely.
I believe that I won the lottery by being born in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
There's an entrepreneurial type of aspect of just being here.
Mm-hmm.
So by being born in the United States, or let's say a Western-like country, can we all admit we kind of win the lottery just
True.
right there?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So we won the lottery there. And then I had 2 parents that were and are very loving and caring and engaged and focused and go take the hill kind of parents. My mom and my dad. So won the lottery there. If you are born in a great country and you are born with 2 parents that love you, you've won the lottery twice. And the third time, and I had to work hard for this one, was my wife. So
Oh.
She's lovely.
Oh, how
She's
long have you
lovely,
been
and she puts up
together?
with me, which is no small task.
Yeah, right.
I think in Australia we say you're batting above your average. Would that be a fair summary of how
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's our 25th wedding anniversary in
congrats.
2 weeks, and I should have that tattooed in my arm.
Oh, congratulations. That's so 25 years. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
congrats.
25 years. I know, it sounds really like, oh my God,
It's
that's a long time.
awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I can't remember what your question was, but
It was basically
Yeah,
my early childhood, that's what it was.
Yeah.
there we go.
I attribute it to those three things in order. Really, my parents and my upbringing. It's just my dad was a colonel in the Marine Corps and kind of had that spirit of go and you need to go and win for yourself. No one's going to hand you a thing, but he did it in a loving way.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's just the way it is. You got to have a competitive spirit and you got to go and take the hill yourself, but also your family's here to help you when you fall down.
Lovely.
Yeah, cool. All right, Mike, let's dive into that a little bit. So you've held a number of leadership positions across HR, technology, private equity, et cetera, et cetera. Can you share some of your biggest career highlights? So, what are the things, if there were 2 or 3 things that really stand out for you in your career, what would they be?
Oh, hard work. And this sounds like, okay, he prepped for this and all this other stuff. And Lisa and Steve, I did not.
Yeah.
So and what comes immediately to mind is you truly have to work hard.
Yeah.
There's no way you're getting around that. You have to put the hours in, put in the work.
Mhm.
So that's number one. Number two, you have to be willing to have some salesmanship in you.
Yeah.
Okay. So it doesn't matter if you're literally in a sales role or not. If you don't have salesmanship, the ability to communicate well with others, you don't have to be an extrovert. You don't have to have all the qualities of a salesperson,
Mhm.
but you have to be able to sell your idea to someone else. It might be you're in a product role, whatever it is. I attribute my ability to communicate relatively well, not perfect, with others as one of the biggest things that has helped me in my career.
Yeah.
And that contributes to my salesmanship, whether that's internal to a company or outside getting customers. So
Mhm.
working hard, getting customers, getting them to believe in me, and building friends.
Yep.
It's not just salesmanship. And I love it when people say, oh, you're lucky. Yeah, good luck with luck. So you're not lucky. You'll work hard and you meet the right people and you choose. And you know how you meet the right people? You keep meeting new people.
Mhm.
And you just meet a ton of people. And then certainly in all those tons of people, you're going to meet a couple that are great.
Yeah.
And that help you out. So that was a long-winded answer. You didn't want such a long
No,
boring
that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's exactly, we obviously on this podcast, we talk to, our audience is all different levels of entrepreneurs, people who are starting, people who are already sort of far into their journey. And I think that's really helpful insight.
Yeah.
Truly.
I think you've highlighted that fact too, like luck and hope
Yep.
are really good, but they're not a strategy, right?
Yes.
That's
You know,
right.
if there's
I've tried before. It doesn't work out.
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
If there's a lotto jackpot, you might hope to win it. It's not a strategy, but doesn't mean you shouldn't buy a ticket as well, right? So
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I think also we were talking about your upbringing with your father, especially, that attitude of go out and get it, but also be kind. And I guess
Yes.
obviously you've sort of described yourself as somebody who balances the human aspects of business and of an organization with the business's goals. So that mindset, I suppose, it sounds like it came from your father. How do you apply it in practice?
It did, yet I had to form my own inscription
Mm-hmm.
or filter on how that works. My father was an amazing human being and hilarious and wonderful, but he was also not always the guy that's going to come up and give you a hug.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like that. So the human side means how do you treat somebody like they want to be treated? The golden rule.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems such a common sense thing to do. How do you treat a team the way they really feel as if they're a part of something? And it's amazingly not common sense for so many leaders. And
Yep.
unfortunately, I've worked with a couple of those where you meet those people and you can tell immediately, I don't know what's wrong with them. They don't understand how to win over, back to salesmanship.
Right.
They don't know how to win over that team
Yeah. Yeah.
because they don't treat them with the respect and dignity that they need to feel as if they're adding value to the organization.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go bad cop a little
Yeah,
bit here
yeah.
because it's very
Okay.
it's very easy to see someone's success and think, wow, that was look at all the stuff you've done and you're a big success, but it's not always a straight line either. So I'd love to just delve into a little bit of your setbacks and maybe even what was one of your biggest failures? What did you learn from that experience that, you've brought through to today?
Gosh, sales seems to be a theme for me today on this, but if I think of setbacks, I think of a sales goal, and I've had several sales goals, and either mine personally or a team that I'm leading or everything else. And it's so much fun when you win and you hit the goals, and I have more times than not. But when you don't, it's certainly not fun. And my biggest failure in my career so far was the last job I had before I'm doing these three things. So I was the CEO of a HR tech company in the United States. It was an onboarding company. Hell, it's on my LinkedIn, so you can see it. It was Clickboarding.
Yeah.
And we had success the first half of my tenure there. And then the second half of my tenure, the sales just dried up. And the board held me accountable for that, and I was fired. And boy, that was a humbling day.
Right.
That's not a fun thing. That is not a fun thing. I've never been fired before, never, from anything. And so you get fired and you realize, even saying the word, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So, and it was painful. I was in my little dark corner for a little while. That wasn't pretty, but you learn. I think I now know. I learned from what I could have done differently, how it's not somebody else's fault. It was my fault that we didn't hit the deal. So I'd love to blame the world and the market and everybody else. I'd love to blame everybody. It was my fault at the end of the day. And so, you learn from lack of winning, and so therefore lack of accountability.
How did you pull yourself out of that? I guess how long did you stay in that? Oh man, this sucks. This hurts.
Oh,
and then how did you get yourself out of it?
One, I think my wife gave me a choice to get out of it or get out of the house. Make a choice.
Yeah.
Get out of the funk or get out of the house. I got out of that by talking to my network of folks. I got out of that by saying, okay, this didn't work out. It did for a while. I learned a ton. And for the record, I would do it again. I still believe in the company. I still believe in the people that are there and the board and Clickboarding as a solution. I believe in it. And I wish them all the best in the world. And I think they're going to do great things. So I got out of it by saying, okay, I'm going to swallow the pill. It was my fault. Had a great team. And I can do other great things.
Right.
So it's time to be out of the funk and go and think about what those other things can be. And going back to what I said, living in the United States, and perhaps it's this way in Australia and other Western countries, you can fail in the United States. You can fail, I think, in most Western countries. I'm trusting in Australia. The people that I've known that are from Australia, you can fail in Australia and you can bounce right back and do the next thing. So I finally woke up one day and said, I choose to do the next thing, which turned out to be three things.
Yeah, right.
So
yeah, amazing. And I guess, which is so inspiring also, I think that specifically the accountability is so hard to take, especially when, something hurts. It stings. It's horrible, to kind of get to the place of being able to be like, whatever happened, wherever it happened, fundamentally it's on me and that's okay. And onwards and upwards is amazing.
Onwards and upwards.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can choose to blame or you can choose to just take it.
Yeah. Yeah. True. I think also then, what was that? Obviously you founded and led multiple companies then. What was the aha moment that made you feel confident that it was the right moment to start Finparency?
I knew that several years ago.
Yeah.
I was running Clickboarding. It's amazing. I'm not trying to get religious on your podcast. I'm not trying to, but I am Christian. I believe in God. And I do believe things don't just happen by mistake. I mean, yes, we work hard. We talked about that, but there is a God element to things. And so I believe God puts you in positions where you trip across things later and you realize, well, gosh, had that not happened, this wouldn't have happened.
Yes.
So had I not been at Clickboarding and had I not failed, I probably would not have realized several things that helped me prepare to build Finparency. So Finparency, what gave me the idea is leading Clickboarding. 281 private equity groups called me over 3 years.
Wow.
And I know 281 because I have that little, this is not a plug, but I have this little digital notepad called a Remarkable.
Yep.
and I've had it for 5, 6 years. And I wrote them all down, and I still have it. All 281 were trying to find a way to win us over just to have a conversation.
Mhm.
And I thought that was so remarkable. We were a smaller HR tech company. Why are they calling me? Well, come to find out after doing a lot of research, they're calling dry cleaners and car washes and HVAC companies and everything out there because there's so many of them with a ton of cash on the sidelines
Mhm.
that, and there's so many businesses and they don't have a way to realize it. So it took working in that environment and being exposed to those private equity individuals and my history of working with private equity before
Mhm.
to know where there was an opportunity to solve a big problem.
Wow.
All
Yeah,
right,
okay.
no more bad cop. Let's go good cop,
Yeah,
or even Jerry Maguire, show me the money. So let's talk about your year of biggest revenue growth. So
Ooh.
yeah, so what were I'm really curious, what were the key decisions or the innovations or the cultural shifts that unlocked that success and allowed the money to come in?
Absolutely number one, without question and without rehearsal,
Mhm.
is the team. The team that you have and that you build and the culture that you put behind them to go and win and
Mhm.
help them out along the path and getting out of their way with all the BS. That is the number one thing. You can have all the cutesy technology stuff. You can do all these great things. You can build your go-to-market strategy, I believe now, and this is before this has all existed, with all your AI components. That's all great. And I believe in a lot of those. But again, before they even existed, it was the team that got it done.
Mhm.
And so my biggest revenue year was a huge growth, and we probably had 70 people in business development on that team, and freaking crushed it. It's
Amazing.
because each person dug in and was able to really understand how to go and get the goal. And they felt as if they were doing something bigger. And I'm not just speaking to faith again. That's not where I'm taking it. I mean, they wanted to win so that they saw their name on the scoreboard
Mhm.
and and they contributed. And yeah, they wanted the big paycheck and a lot of them made a lot of money. But they wanted more than that. They wanted to be on the scoreboard. And that feeling of getting on the scoreboard and high-fiving others along the way, there is nothing better than that. And that is a culture of not just winning, but a culture of fun.
Yeah.
And so that's what does it. That's the tool.
Yeah.
Just on that, because the people thing's really important, but have you got a little tip about what you look for when you're hiring someone?
Oh, yeah. Number one is the beer test, which sounds totally inappropriate. But the beer test is, do I want to have a beer with you?
Right.
If I
Yeah.
can stomach the idea of having a beer with you, one beer, if I can't handle one beer with you, I do not want to work with you.
Wow.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's, yeah, a
Love
really
that.
simple way to
Yeah.
condense down, yeah, whether somebody's
Yep.
going to fit your culture, whether
Yep.
they're somebody that you personally can work with.
I love that. The beer test.
The beer test.
Pass the beer
Throw the
test.
resume in the trash can.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's the
Yeah.
number one thing.
Wow.
Yeah. Interesting.
Mm.
I the private equity sort of backed environments can be really high pressure. And also obviously high reward. So can you walk us through a story where investor expectations and the operational realities, I guess, kind of collided and how you navigate that?
Yeah. I've had good private equity experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I've had not good, so therefore bad
Yeah.
private equity experiences.
Very diplomatic.
And it's the difference to me where the expectations was the question versus operational unrealistic expectations.
Basically, yeah.
When unrealistic expectations hit the operational dynamics, it all collapses.
Mm-hmm.
And that can happen. And I'm thinking of 2 times ago that exact situation happened, and I therefore cannot name the company.
Yeah.
But it was so painful because the private equity group, they're trying to get a reward for their investors 5 years out, let's say, on average, from the time they put their initial money in.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't deliver about 3x to their investors on that deal over the course of 5 years, they're looked at as a failure.
Mm-hmm.
And those people that put the money into that fund choose not to reinvest in that fund in the next round that they have. So therefore, that adds pressure on their backs. And so on occasion, you'll see some private equity groups under just the simple stress of not knowing what else to do will weasel down the numbers, and they'll weasel it to the point where you can't hit it. Whether they're cutting down the operational components, since you used that word, or they're making the sales goals with you so unrealistically high that you can't possibly hit it. But on a piece of paper in an Excel file, it looks really good because it helps them justify that 3x return 5 years down the road. And when you run into that situation, in my opinion, the best thing that you can possibly do is bring them on the home team.
Right.
Don't hide them in the boardroom. Time to get those folks in the private equity group in front of customers, in front of industry shows, and get them involved in your business so that they feel very intimately involved and they now understand the market in a different way and can describe it differently to their investors.
Right. Yeah. Okay. It's interesting how often, obviously, we speak to all different guests in different industries, and it's really interesting how often the fundamental rule of everything is just communicate with people, bring them in, returning the humanity, is the answer 9 out of 10 times, I would say.
Yeah. Can we talk about shifts in companies? So in doing some research on you, Mike, one of the companies that you have worked with, there was this big shift from product talk to impact talk. Can you just explain that a little bit and maybe give us some insight on some companies that may have done that really, really well, that transformation from product talk to impact talk?
Oh, do I love this. This is a tee up, and I don't even think it was meant as a tee up, but I'm all excited it's a tee up.
There's a completely
I'm all
unrehearsed
excited
answer.
this is a tee up.
Oh my God. We're ready.
The
We're
third
ready.
company that I was not going to, this is paid for by, I wasn't even going to bring this up, but this is, the third company is around value engineering, and it's called Beyond Banyan.
Yes.
Beyond Banyan. Okay, so yes, SAP invented the concept of the impact that you're talking about, converting from product to impact. When Bill McDermott was running SAP, he wasn't getting the deals that he wanted. And he talks about this in his biography. It's a great book. I can't remember the name of it. But I read it a long time ago, but it's a really good book. And he was so frustrated that they weren't getting enough of those big deals done. And these aren't the exact words he used, so I'm not trying to quote him. But he decided, let's go hire a bunch of data scientists and create a department around value engineering, they called it. And let's go out there and prove to the prospective clients that by putting in their solutions, the impact will be so huge for them that there's not a product concern here. There is you can't afford not to have this concern.
Right.
And so they did that. And so they internalized it at SAP, and it really worked. Well, I worked at Hewitt and Alight, which same company in the United States, and we were a tech and services company, still is. And several of us saw that value engineering was needed. So they created value engineering. Well, since then, many of us have left. And so 9 of us have come back together and said value engineering is really needed in a product form. So Beyond Banyan is the entire ethos, the concept of impact productized in software so that we can go to different companies and say, hey, you want to go and have an impact on a company and get more clients? Do so in not just some stupid ROI analysis that your marketing department came up with. Do so in an impactful way to show what you're doing in the world with your solution. And we're going to take the client along for a ride in this. And they will see that their data is in this software and it's irrefutable to them because they're a part of the entire process. So you can convert from product to impact very easily. Just you have to look at it differently, and you have to look at what the client values and how to measure it.
Just on that, how is that, or how differently is that received when the conversation is very much impact and not just the product? Does that land differently on the prospect that you're talking to?
Absolutely. It'll get you to the C-suite versus your everyday decision maker. No offense to the everyday decision maker, but to get to that next level, you're going to have to prove impact so that you can have what's the right word? A measurable. I almost said insurmountable, but I don't think I was right. A measurable impact on their business.
Yeah.
You're going to have to find a way to get to the people that really make the decision on the budget
Mhm.
And so if they're buying a $10 million software, you better be able to show that it's going to deliver $30 to $40 million in value. And that's direct and indirect savings. How do you
Right.
do that?
Yeah.
Hey guys, just wanted to do a quick shout out to our affiliate partner, OpusClip. If you need great videos without hiring an editor, their AI engine turns your raw clips into share-ready content in under a minute. No skill required. Find our link in the description to support our show and get a great sign-up bonus. Create more, stress less with OpusClip. Now back to today's episode.
Yeah, right. I guess also then, in terms of building credibility, especially early on in a startup sense or for young entrepreneurs, what's your best, what practical steps do you think young entrepreneurs can take to establish trust quickly with investors and with clients?
Make sure they have nailed down market fit.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah,
need
okay.
to really make sure. You can spend a lot of time and a lot of money on something that's not needed by anyone.
Right. Yeah, okay.
So nail down market fit. Make sure there's product market fit.
Mhm.
So I know we were just talking about crossing the chasm of product to impact. And here I
Mm-hmm.
am saying go back to product. I don't want to sound like a hypocrite here, but for a startup, if you don't understand what the world out there needs and what they're willing to pay for, and to make sure what you're designing with all your good intentions, and I'm looking in the mirror as I say this,
Yeah.
it better match up with what the market needs. And if it doesn't, surrender. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Fail fast and go to the next thing.
Yeah, right. Very good advice.
Yeah. All right, let's get back to your core business, one of your core businesses at the moment. So what do you see as the best aspects and also the most frustrating aspects of the HR technology and employee benefits industry right now?
Well, oh boy. This is a huge answer, and the answer varies based on where I am versus where you are and where your audience base may be.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So in the United States, what we're dealing with and why Lumity exists, and Lumity does a great job of containing the cost pressures that are going on in the United States right now. Remember, in the United States, the way it works, your employer, for 2/3 of people that live here around there, the employer ends up paying for your health care.
Mm-hmm.
And you have two versions of that, fully insured. This is not going to be an entire history lesson of the employee benefits world. I
No,
promise
very
everybody, I just lost your entire audience. They all just
not at all, no. Lay it on us, Mike. We're ready.
unsubscribed. But in the United States, the way it works is that your employer sponsors the benefits plan. Right or wrong, should it exist, doesn't matter. It's just the way it's done right now. And there's two versions of that. You're fully funded, fully insured, or you're self-insured. And when you're self-insured, literally the company is paying for your medical claims, your medical problems.
Right.
So due to that, and due to all the innovations that all these great technologies are coming out with in the United States, including pharmacies and pharmaceuticals,
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff that's coming out, innovation is coming out at a rampant pace, and people in the United States aren't necessarily healthier. There's a lot of fat people here.
Right.
We got a lot of fat people here, and there's nothing wrong with fat people. I love fat people, but there's a lot of fat people that sit and don't exercise, and therefore they're driving claims costs. We're seeing employers with 30, 40, 50% increases in their healthcare spend year over year.
Mm-hmm.
This is insane. 30, 40, 50%. Now, in other parts of the world, it's paid for by the government.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not advocating for either method. I'm just saying that's one versus the other.
Mm-hmm.
And now introduce GLP-1s that's trying to contain the obesity problem. And that's a very expensive treatment,
Mm-hmm.
needed and very expensive. So, Steve, I'm not addressing your question the right way, but we're really trying to help, and we do help our clients, which are the employers. I had to give that backdrop, help them mitigate that increase and come up with ways for them to cut down on their claims costs and negotiate with the insurance carriers and get the best deal they can. And we do that through technology all day long. We do a great job of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a big problem, and it's spreading worldwide. So we're seeing people spend more time in front of their screens, not moving as much, eating a lot more processed foods, and therefore claims costs go up because healthcare goes down. Doesn't matter whether it's government or employer sponsored.
Mm-hmm.
I think the systems are different, but the trends you're talking about, I think
I think
they're
the
almost
same.
universal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
It's sad. I'm a victim of it. I've gained weight, and it's not just weight. It's just lifestyle. It's,
hmm
are you eating more processed foods? This is rhetorical, but are you eating more processed
Mm.
foods? Are you not getting out and about as much? Are you on social media all the time? Um, that's not good.
It
Yeah.
is. It's interesting looking at what that's going to mean, what that all means for us going forward as, as people,
Yeah.
as,
Well, I think also in business, right? It's the business landscape's very busy. It's challenging, and if we're not, I guess, personally responsible for those things, like how much time am I spending on social media? Am I exercising enough? Am I setting aside enough time for, for other pursuits? Like there's a whole conversation, I guess, to have around that, and it's interesting that what you do is almost the nexus of those two things, and
It is.
yeah, it's almost like you're going to be in work for a long period of time because of
yeah,
that, right?
I
it's
think so.
yeah,
And
it's the,
Lumity is focused on small business employers, and so they need the most help on healthcare cost trends. But
right.
yes, I think we're going to have business for a long time.
Yeah.
What do you personally do to stay grounded, to like say yes, avoid burnout, but
Oh,
also how do you balance this? Especially, you've got 3
where's my
companies on the
therapist?
go. Well, yeah, right. The standard question, I feel like whenever we were talking to I was chatting yesterday with the CEO of a tech company, just in a work, in a friendship sense, but I was saying, we were talking about when people ask, what do you do for fun? And you're somebody who, grows startups, or you work in, especially in like tech industries, or, what do you do for fun? And the answer is just more work. I just work.
More work.
Yeah. What do you,
Martinis and more work.
yeah, that's
Uh,
right. Yeah. What do you do for fun? I cry.
I'm not advocating for drinking. No one should drink.
Yeah.
What do I do to balance? I try to spend as much time with my family as I can, which seems inauthentic as an answer, but it's true. I don't
Yeah.
have many hobbies. I scuba dive a little, but I only get to do that a couple times a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I exercise almost every day. That's great. I enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to read, but I've had to eliminate reading to a large extent in the last year. There's just been so much to do. Sometimes a lot of work is okay.
Yep.
And I rationalize right now, I'm in the okay zone. This is going to be a lot of work.
Yes.
And my wife and I had that conversation. The kids and I had that conversation. I don't think my kids paid attention to it. Like, hey,
But they were in the room.
Also universal,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
what's he doing now?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's he doing now? So, and they're my best friends. I'm so close to them. I
Love
really
that.
am, despite the joke I just made.
Yeah.
So, what do I do to unwind or to spend time and stay grounded is to be with my kids and to exercise. And that's about, and be with my friends when I can. That's about it. I research these people. I always found Warren Buffett a little offensive, and Bill Gates. I find them hypocritical and offensive. Where I struggle with Bill Gates and Warren Buffett is they talk all the time about if you're not taking an hour to 3 hours a day to read.
Right.
And
Yes.
I'm like, what the hell? What planet are they on
Yeah.
that I'm not on? That's a different planet than I'm living in. Where do they? I'm just not as intelligent. I can't speed read. I don't know how they're doing it. But they will convince you when you listen to one of their things that if you're not investing that kind of time into yourself and in the personal development, that you aren't going to make it.
Right.
And I don't know if that's right or wrong. I haven't proven it all the way out. I am nowhere near as successful as them. So I guess maybe they're right. But those are 2 people. And I got to tell you, they're so influential that they almost negatively impact me because I feel guilty about myself that I can't do that. And I would argue it's okay not to do that. And it's all right to take on your work for a period of time. And one day you'll be able to get your reading in if you want to, but maybe that's not today.
Yeah. I have a saying, the gurus are always right, except when they're wrong.
Yeah.
So maybe that's one of those things. It's a very personal thing as well. Mike, can we dive into some leadership stuff for a little bit? Because you've done a lot of things that require leadership over a number of years. So, we're talking innovation, disruption, and so forth. What do you think is the hardest leadership decision you've ever had to make, and how did you approach that?
It's always universally the same thing. The hardest leadership decision for me ever is firing someone.
Mm-hmm.
It's the hardest thing. And I was told by great mentor of mine, and she said, if you're ever, and I think you've heard this before, but she said it to me and it really resonated and it sunk in, whatever. If you ever get comfortable with firing someone, then you now need to go.
Right.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And so if you're ever comfortable with that miserable situation and decision, it's miserable because you're
Mhm.
impacting somebody's home and their life and everything. If you ever get comfortable with that, you are now the problem.
Right.
And that's really important. And so for me as a leader or as an individual contributor, even anytime I'm impacting somebody else's life, I think of that. I don't, that's the hardest part. It's really easy to come up with a PowerPoint deck and a strategy, and here's the Excel file to support it, and here's our pro forma and our cash flow. Boring. All that is easy. This is the market we're going to go take on. No problem. You want to have a hard day, it's the day you have to fire people. And you have to make decisions that impact firing a lot of people. That's miserable. And there's nothing worse. You can't sleep. You can't go through anything else. You're accountable for all those folks, not just those folks, for all their families.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how do you approach that then? And I guess on the other, so leading into it, how do you approach a tough decision like that? And then on the other side of it, how do you come out of that or move on from it, if that's the
Yeah.
right language? Yeah.
Yeah, two things. What's your best alternative? So if you kept that person or if you kept the division instead of getting rid of it, or you didn't have the layoff, what's the best alternative? And the reason you're landing on that, I hope, is not because you're trying to make your quarterly cash flow look better. I hope it's because you are trying to save your business for the long term. And if that's the case, then that's how you need to do it, because you're actually helping more people for the longer term by making that tough decision.
Mm-hmm.
And explained in that way, even when that day comes to that person, is important. So your second part of your question was, and then how do you do it? More or less, how do you deal with it? How do you do it? You do it respectfully and you do it fast.
Mm-hmm.
You can't let it linger for your own personal health and for that person's. You owe it to them to let them go and find the next thing. I will add, because you weren't asking this part and you're probably hoping I shut up, but
No.
I will add one thing to that.
Yeah.
And that is, if you have the opportunity to take the risk, and it's risky, depending on HR laws by country, you could take it, but I've had a lot of success with this. You could bring whomever, it might be a person, it might be a division, you could bring them into the fold. And you could say, hey, Bob, your job's not working out. Maybe it's you personally, or the role is going away, or the division is going away. Tell you what, Bob, we're going to get rid of this role in 3 months. Okay? You have 3 months to find your next deal. We're going to help you along with that. And in fact, you help us along in the next 3 months, I'm going to be your best reference you've ever had. And I have not been burned by that yet. I'm sure somebody will make a liar out of me, but it's been a real great way to deal with it. Sometimes it's just not practical when it's a big layoff or something else.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
if you can pull that off, that's huge.
Yeah. Right.
And the coming out of that aspect of it. So you get home, kiss the wife and kids, your life's okay, you know, etc. You've just had a really tough day letting people go. How do you cope with that? Like, what have you got some strategies where is it just about, you know, setting it aside, you know, compartmentalizing it? Do you go for a walk? Like, what's the strategy to help you, I guess, almost emotionally? Because it's a tough
Mm-hmm.
day. What do you do to get back to that equilibrium, I guess, is what I'm asking.
Yeah, exercise is key.
Mm-hmm.
I have the bad habit, and it goes against every piece of advice out there, says don't do what I'm about to say. But
You heard it here first.
Yeah. I can't wait now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go. Lean in. I happen to marry my best friend, and she's extremely smart. She
Mhm.
used to work at a hedge fund and everything else. And even though she doesn't like that I share a lot of the things that I share from work, I can have these kinds of conversations with her.
Right.
And I can let her know what's happening, and it's almost my form of therapy,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
where I can talk to my spouse, who's a very capable, smart person, who could probably switch roles with me in a heartbeat, and just vent
Mhm.
And there's no one else that I have that I can do that with. I can't talk to a colleague. I
Mhm.
could talk to a mentor maybe, but they get bored. And the reality is it's your problem, and most people don't want to hear about your problems.
Mhm.
The only exception to that happens to be your spouse. And sometimes you shouldn't bring that work home. I know it. That's what everybody says. But sometimes that is the best way just to talk things through is with your spouse.
Mhm.
So my wife's capable of having at least 90% of those conversations. I say that I didn't ask for her permission to launch Finparency. I would. So I'm not drinking my own champagne right now,
Yeah.
and I know I'm in trouble for it.
So that
But
debrief aspect is really important to you.
y-
What do you think you get out of that? Or why does that work? Why is that successful for you?
For me, it's it's another person's point of view. You can talk to a board,
Mhm.
you can talk to a former leader who's no longer there, you can talk to a colleague group perhaps, but they're all only partly invested. I guess the board really is, but I've found nothing to be more transparent and authentic than when my spouse speaks back to me, and she's never afraid to give me her real thought.
Mhm.
And where everybody else sugarcoats, which I loathe sugarcoating.
Mhm.
So the most unfiltered human I know in my life, at least to me, is my wife, good or bad.
Yeah.
So not always good,
Yeah,
but
right.
not
But I
always what
think
I want to hear.
also good for her in the sense that obviously what's happening for you, and if you're having those dreadful days and you're going through these, these massive emotional things and then sort of trying to come home and be part of the family, that there's also that level of bringing her into the fold as well, that I imagine is part of, sounds like it would be really key to nurturing a long-term healthy relationship.
And to me, it is. And not everybody, obviously, on your podcast, your listeners, not everybody's going to be married or have a spouse
Mhm.
to do that with. And I respect that. So then you have to find a mentor or somebody that's been there before. And for the record, some of these topics, not all of them, some of them we'll talk about the dinner table. And
Mhm.
my kids are older now. They're 18 and 15. And when they're there, which is almost all the time, except my son just went to college. But when we're at the table, there's a lot of business topics we're talking about at home. And I
Mhm.
view it as a sense of almost passing it forward and preparing my kids for these things one day.
Yeah.
So, but it's interesting what I get in response from what you would think are totally inexperienced people, how clear they can look at a problem and address it.
Mhm.
So sometimes the what it does for you is you get somebody's opinion who is really not familiar with it at all, and
Mhm.
they'll come back with the most brilliant answer. That's where I'm not getting political here, but that's where diversity has gotten things a little wrong. It's diversity of thought. You're trying to get other people's thoughts that aren't exposed to the exact same things you are all the time.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, that's really key, right? Because we all live in a bubble, right?
Mhm.
The algorithm that we see, where it's the
Yeah.
bubble, I think it's a really important self-leadership thing to step outside our own bubble,
Mhm.
because it can be really restrictive in our thinking
Yeah.
and all of those sorts of things. So yeah, really interesting perspective with that.
Yeah. And when you're talking to your kids, I know obviously they're, 15 and 18, so probably not quite there yet. But if you're talking to a young entrepreneur, say you're talking to your children about scaling their company, they've got some company that they're about to grow, they're looking to scale it. What is the one pitfall that you would say avoid this at all costs, kids?
Mhm. Oh, I would say the one thing to avoid is believing your own BS, believing your
Mm.
own stuff, meaning being too insular in your head that you have all the answers.
Mhm.
Don't believe that you have all the answers. You don't. You don't have all the answers. So if you're a young person and you're launching a business, you think you have all the answers. You don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. And I'm
Mhm.
48. I don't know. I have to go and talk to a lot of people and go out there and talk to people. That's isn't that how we started this? We're like bookending this podcast. It's
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
communication again. Communication is the theme.
yeah.
You're filling somebody's problem. Make sure you talk to a lot of people. Don't
Mhm.
get caught up on worrying that somebody's going to steal your idea. They don't care about your
Right.
idea. They're worried about their own problems. Go and fill a problem out there and talk to a lot of people to make sure you have it directionally correct.
Mm-hmm. And there's your product market fit thing again, isn't it? Look, this is all very
Yes.
tidy.
Yeah.
All
It
snaps
is.
back into place. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Mike, can we talk a little bit about credibility and how to build credibility? I mean, you've been there on many occasions with your companies. So I think a lot of entrepreneurs in our audience, they perhaps wrestle with building credibility early. So what practical steps can young founders take to establish trust quickly with investors and clients?
To me, one at a time, personal relationships, sticking by your word. If you're going to execute on something, you execute to something.
Mhm.
And you follow through with that, and you communicate with them regularly so that they know that when you say that you're going to do X, Y, and Z, that you're doing it.
Yeah.
And back to the communication thing again, but this is also following through. And that's just so important. So early credibility for somebody that's just getting started, and I'm dealing with this with Finparency. It's one customer at a time. It's one investor at a time. And what are their problems that I'm solving for? And as I get traction with them and they become case studies, now I can go to 10, and then I can go to 100, and then 1,000, and then 100,000. So that's, to me, how credibility expands. And I've been on the opposite side of that, where I've done stupid things and I became not credible because I didn't execute the way I needed to. So I say that through a voice of, I've been on both sides of that coin.
Right. Yeah, right.
Was it hard to come back from those not quite credible moments?
Yes, absolutely. Because self-doubt kicks in.
Right.
And then you start to question, oh, am I really good? Which is just human nature.
Yeah.
And yes, without being arrogant, yes is the answer. It's a matter of finding what you are good at. So that's the thing. We're not all good at the same thing. So finding out what you're good at, and it might be a small little sliver of something, and specialists in this world make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So you figure out what your little thing is that you're really good at doing, whatever small little thing it is, and you decide to scale that goodness of that thing, you'll do very well.
Let's do some, just to completely put you on the spot here. We've got some rapid fires that we're going to do.
Yeah.
So
Oh boy.
what are we calling it?
The
We
fast, the fast five.
The fast five.
The fast five questions to find out a little bit more about the person behind the mic. So, Mike, are you ready?
Oh, Mike.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, there you go.
The mic behind the mic. Boom, boom. All right, so number one, the CEO who has most inspired you.
Oh, I had three, and this has to be rapid fire. There were three that were named David, and I have to go with, I know, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
3 Davids. One has passed away, David Hall, who was amazing. He would be my number one. But my number two would be actually David Wickman of United Health Group, my old boss. He was amazing.
Excellent.
Right.
Number two, the one piece of technology you couldn't live without today.
My car.
Oh.
I wasn't expecting
Yeah,
that
me
one.
neither.
Yeah, interesting. Cool. All right, number three, iPhone or Android?
iPhone, unfortunately.
Those opinions do not reflect the show, blah, 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 blah.
I hate work.
What about Netflix or cinema?
Mm-hmm.
I prefer to go to the cinema, yet I'm a Netflix user.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And what was the last book you read?
We know you said that you've had to give up reading, so cast your mind back. What was it?
Yes, it was amazing. It was Who is Michael Ovitz? And he was the founder of CAA. Oh my gosh, that book is so good. Who is Michael Ovitz?
Who is Michael Ovitz?
CAA is the movie producer and agent firm. So anyways, highly recommend it. It's a total biography, but it's a business biography.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Excellent.
Fits the bill right on.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Now, finally, Mike, tell us, where can our viewers find you and your company, online and otherwise?
Okay, you can go to one of two places, and don't judge me on the websites. They're both being redone.
Yeah, no worries. You've been warned, everyone.
Yeah. Point taken. Everyone make a note.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. First, go to LinkedIn. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, just send me on LinkedIn. My last name is Ehrle. I think there's 3 of us in the world, so you'll find me quickly. And then Lumity, Lumity.com, or Finparency.ai. the .com works too. So either one of those places you can go.
Beautiful.
Excellent.
Well, thank you so much, Mike Ehrle. It has been an absolute pleasure to chat with you. Thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Mike.
Lisa and Steve, thank you. Really appreciate it.
Our
Thank you.
pleasure.
To help support our continued mission to provide free, best-in-class advice from the world's most compelling business leaders, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an episode. See you next Saturday. Thanks for tuning in to The Business Game. If you like what you heard, make sure to subscribe on YouTube and follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn to stay connected. A big thank you to our major sponsor, Thaler Offshore, for powering today's episode. And join us again on the next episode of The Business Game, a podcast that moves the needle.